I'm driven to one thing or locked to one thing, right? So let's give a big round of applause.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So I've intentionally kept it this way. I know I can't do it full screen, but I need to access the tabs, so intentionally done that. Well, so how was everyone feeling so far? The first two talks, did you guys get something to learn? Am I audible at the back there? All right. I think I'll skip my introduction for later. Let me just engage a bit to see how good everyone here at Pune is at math. Some basic calculations. Can somebody solve this for me? Don't use calculators. 180. 180? Perfect. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is just a random thing, but trust me, I'm going to connect it later. Anyways, just wanted to talk to you guys a bit. How many of you are in the industry for more than 2 years here? Wow, a lot. Okay, so I'm asking you these questions because I want to tailor my talk, tailor my delivery in such a way that it is easier for everyone to understand it, right? Anybody who's worked with images, videos, AI, since we're talking about AI today? Okay. Anybody who's worked with CDNs in general? Because images and videos, you need CDN, Cloudflare, Akamai, all those things, right? Noise. Fine. All right. Has anybody heard of ImageKit before? Oh, there are quite a few people. Okay, perfect. All right. So yeah, so we have solved this. This is 180. Anybody who's heard of these companies? I'm sure Purple is very famous. We have a lot of women attendees here. Nykaa. Who is that one person who never cooks but just orders from Swiggy every day? Wow, I think you deserve a special meal here. All right. So I want to talk about a few things that, so I will show you 5 images on the screen, one from each of these websites, each of these companies' websites, and I want you to figure out and find out what is this one similar thing that you find in all these websites, all right? So this is the website for Swiggy, okay? I'm gonna let it stay for 10 more seconds. Just look at it properly, all right? This is the home page of Swiggy. This is Zepto. And by the way, we are talking about these companies because we know everybody uses React, right? In some way. This is Book My Show. This is Nykaa. Do you guys shop from Nykaa? Men here. No? Okay, and this is this is Tata Neo. Anybody who's shopped from Tata Neo? Yes. Nice. Right, so this is the 5th company. So again, we have Swiggy, we have Zepto, we have Book My Show, we have Nykaa, and we have Tata Neo. Is there anything interestingly common amongst all of these websites? Did anybody figure out what is common? Okay, images. Somebody said cards. Categories, cards. Okay. Search. Okay. What else? Product listing. Perfect. What else? Sorry? Ton of images. Correct. So I want you to focus on these things, right? So I've highlighted the areas that I want you to focus on. Now now if you are all React developers, how would you create this? This is technically an image, right? These are 3 images which have on-click listeners, and you just open it and it just opens to the new router link, right? Now for Zepto, focus on this area, right? For Book My Show, this is the area. For Nykaa, this is the area. And for Tata Neo, this is the area, right? So we are focusing on these areas specifically. Now, since we have already seen that we have a ton of images, right? All of these websites have a lot of images because, again, without images, experience is not good, right? Just a text, simple HTML5 web page from 2005, nobody is going to use it, right? So a lot of images. Do you all see that there is some sort of consistency in these images, right? So let's go back again. So if you see here, there's a text, there's a logo, there's a text again, there's another text, and there's one image, right? And then there's a background which has a gradient, right? Everything is consistent, same size, same dimensions, and that is why it looks good, right? Look here. Again, image, logo, text, text. Everything is consistent, right? Again, text, 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 logo, gradient, all squares, right? So it's the same pattern that you see across all the websites, not just these, across all the websites, right? So we have a lot of consistency in images, and that's why they look good, because our brain is somehow tuned to find beauty in consistency, right? So dimensions, similar backgrounds, they could be solid colors, gradients, anything, right? And most of these images are formed out of templates. So where the text should go, what color should the text should go, what is the font size, everything is templatized, right? Now, anybody here who has ever worked on Illustrator or Photoshop, Figma, Canva, if you were to create, let's say, 100 of such variations, how much time would it take for you to manually do that? A week? A week with a lot of boredom, right? With no incentive, no stock options, right? Now, okay, let me just introduce myself. I think it's time. So, I'm Harshit, and I am an engineer at ImageKit. I am a senior engineer, by the way, but I work on front-end, back-end, infra, everything that comes out. And yes, we are talking about AI transformations today, because again, everybody is talking about it. Our topic is AI. We have to get ahead in the race. Life is a race. If you don't run fast, you'll be like broken andas, all of that. And that brings us to why we are talking about this. But I'm always active on X and LinkedIn. I will put the QR code later. Coming back to our mathematics. So we all figured out that this is 180, right? Now, what is the significance of these numbers? So we saw a lot of websites were primarily e-commerce, right? But let's say these were not e-commerce, these could be OTT platforms as well, right? Now, typically for one, let's say, an e-commerce product, right? So one product, you can scroll 6-7 images are there, right? Let's say even if you buy a Lay's packet, there are like 6 images, right? So one product, there are 6 images. For each image, now because you're going to use it on a Samsung, on iPhone, on so many mobile devices, desktop, and a ton of other devices, right? So you need different resolutions of each image, right? Now they could be portraits, they could be landscapes, they could be anything, right? So 5 resolutions on an average for each image, right? Let's say there's a 1920 by 1080, there's a 640 by 320, there's a different aspect ratio, roughly 5 resolutions. Now you have at least 3 image formats, right? So some browsers don't support AVIF properly, some really get slow when you use something like JPEG, sometimes they don't load, right? WebP is the most preferred for web delivery. So roughly on an average 3 of those, right? Now you would also want to compress these images. You cannot typically load a 5 MB raw output from Adobe Photoshop on your web. It'll be very slow, right? So you need to somehow compress it, make it somewhere in kilobytes, and then deliver it, right? So roughly 2 compressions, right? So that brings us to 180 variations of one image that gets generated. So let's say there's one product on Amazon that has 180 variations of images for different devices, different network types. Some people might do 3G, so show a low resolution image so that it loads faster. Now, for a typical company like Amazon, 6,000 products is nothing. They have way more than that. Even Zepto has way more than that. I started my career with Big Basket. Big Basket in 2019 had almost 10,000 SKUs. Like SKUs as in products, stock keeping units, right? So imagine 6,532 products, that's the same number, times 180 variations of each image. What is that number? Math geniuses? Just guess. It's a 4-digit number multiplied by a 3-digit number. What would you get? You would actually get 1 million. And this is just the baseline, right? So something like Zepto has 1 million images, which is like 10 lakh images, just to run like their app or their website, right? And this is actually needed for a very good quality visual, and that's why you typically return back to Zepto or BookMyShow or these established companies, because they have such a great user experience, right? So if you're serious about delivering perfect high performance media heavy websites, since we know that it's going to be media heavy, you need your images and videos to look good, which is why you look for consistency, you look for color, you look for design systems, all of that, right? They should load fast, which is why you need optimizations. And they should also help improve your user engagement. So for a Lay's product, you won't put an image for a penguin, right? So they should actually help you convert and make money. But how do we integrate these with our applications? We don't know. Does anybody know 1 million images? How do you integrate it? Anyone who can guess, like a typical system? Yeah. ImageKit. I will give you that. But anyone who has worked with images at this scale, how would you make a system, make an architecture?
We use Cloudflare.
You use Cloudflare, but where do you store it? R3.
Basically, we store only one image.
Okay.
And
Okay.
variations are served using Figma.
Okay. And these variations, are they created in real time? Are they pre-stored? What happens? How does Cloudflare work?
Mostly they are pre-stored.
Mostly they are pre-stored. So you're creating 1 million images, storing it on Cloudflare. The base images are stored somewhere on your S3, right? So 1 million images you are pre-calculating. Let's say this is 10 million, you would pre-calculate 10 million images, right? So a typical workflow would look like this, right? Everybody has used S3, Exner object storage. If anybody of you are a startup founders here, there are so many other digital ocean storages. Typically you would store somewhere, and then you would pre-calculate all of these 1 million variations, edit them, store them all, and then deliver them using your database and mapping and links, call them with your Next.js code, React code, whatever, right? Now, you need a human to ensure that there is consistency. You need to export 1 million images using Photoshop, store them, right? Scalability. Again, how much would you pay that Photoshop guy? You can't even imagine, right? There needs to be speed. So how do these companies do it? So we are still talking about the problem. I'm not pitching ImageKit. Just simply talking about a problem. Okay. No one? No one a better way? Anyone who has heard of the Next.js image component? I'm sure everyone, right? Yeah. So Next.js image component has a few props. It has props like width, height, it has fill, loader, sizes. These sizes are what actually helps you figure out what is your container size and optimize it based on that. Quality, that actually helps in compression. So like a 100% quality image versus an 80% quality image, the size is going to be like a huge difference, but the visual quality to a user will not be so much, right? So that's how Next.js does it. Preload, placeholder, all of these things, right? The very standard way of doing it is this. But this cannot scale, right? You can clearly see it cannot scale to 1 million images. You can't pre-store them. So the solution to this is URL-based transformations. Now, all of these bigger companies have already adapted to this particular convention. Now, what they do is they don't store and pre-compute these 1 million images. They just store one image or like a variation or like a template, right? And then they create all of these other variations on the fly, right? Now, how this works is because it's generated on the fly, there is no storage that is used, right? It works in near real time. There is automatic format optimizations because if you're doing it in real time, you know that, okay, your Android phone is making a request to this image. Android phone cannot support AVI here, so let's just deliver WebP. So it will create WebP on the fly, deliver it, right? So your app just loads. Now, how would they work? That's where, again, not pitching ImageKit, not a sales guy, just an engineer, but ImageKit is exactly, so I'm just going to tell you what I do here. So I basically work on image APIs. So we have image and video APIs, we also work on videos. And this is our primary goal, to make sure that React code can deliver optimized images at this scale with no extra effort. That's what we do. And we have, that's where we come in, right? Let's just skip all this, talk about AI, okay? Enough of ImageKit, enough of problem statements. Has anybody seen this? What is this? Ghibli, right? It was launched on ChatGPT as a connector, right? Now, how would you create this Ghibli? You would make a prompt, you would write a prompt in ChatGPT, it will just give you an output, right, from your image. If you were to do this on, let's say, your own project, your React app, how would you do it? How would you give context of that image to the LLM? Anyone? Sorry? GPT image model, right? Now you'll use GPT image model, you will make sure that the image gets created, and then you will upload it to a CDN, store it somewhere, again, make all these pipelines, make sure it's delivered, optimized, fast, quality is reduced, so that it's like KBs, because this image will definitely be like 5 MB, right? Because it's a high resolution. All of that, right? Now, we are stuck here, but the world is way far ahead in AI, right? We can actually do a lot of things with AI now. We can do remove background, not just Ghibli. We can do remove background, we can change backgrounds using AI. We can expand images. Let's say we have like, let's say you are standing somewhere, there's a portrait image. You want AI to imagine things around you, create a background, expand it. You can do that. You can create images just like Ghibli, right? Or anybody who's used Nano Banana, they know that it can create images from a prompt, right? You can add shadows, variations, smart crop, all of that, right? But we are still stuck at figuring out how to do this in our apps. We don't even know where to get started, right? Let's do a demo. Let's do a demo of how these URL transformations work, right? Let's say, can everybody see this? What is this? What does it become after it grows up? And what does it become when it was younger, when it was born? P2, yeah. I'm sure there are Pokemon fans like me, right? So this is a Pikachu, and it's a PNG image. Now, can anyone tell me what is a PNG image? Transparent background, right? So a PNG image does not have a background. So if I just drag this out here, this is the actual image, right? Now let's say if I were to add a background to this, I don't have to go to Photoshop. What color background should I add?
Blue.
Green? Now this is not a web app, it is the raw PNG that is now edited as a buffer in your browser in real time. Anyone else who wants to add another background? Yellow? Anyone who wants to add?
Try a gradient.
Okay, let's try a gradient background. Do you want it to auto-detect using AI? You see how fast it is? When I'm talking about real-time URL-based transformations, this is what I mean. That now, as developers, you don't need to pre-process, go to your graphic designer, ask it that, okay, put a background, export it, give it to me, I'll upload it to my S3, then take the link, put it on CloudFront or Akamai, and then deliver from there. You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is just change the URL through some logic in your code, put this query parameter, and you're done. If you want to add another, let's say, another intelligent background, look at this, right? Yes, you can add prompts. We will come to it. But I just wanted to show you what URL transformations mean, right? Now let's say, now there are a lot of things I can do, not just backgrounds. I can actually do a lot of things. Let's say we come back to our base image, right? This is our base image. Let's say I want to create a very nice shadow. Like let's say there's a sun source which is coming on Pikachu, to create a shadow behind it, right? Now even that can be done. You see the shadow? Can everybody see at the back? There is a shadow, and if I drag this, there's a shadow behind it, right? Now, these things are not even AI yet. We are not even in AI. These are all just normal editing that's happening in your browser in real time, right? Now imagine if we can do this at this speed. What can we do with URL-based transformations when we are working on AIs, right? So again, I will want to show you a few more examples. So let's say BG. So there is like a language. Oh, what happened? Oh, dominant. Yeah, see. So this is not even AI. I know it is intelligently picking the colors from the image, the dominant colors, but this is not even AI. This is just basic pixel manipulation that we have done, right? Now I think you have a basic idea of what URL-based transformations work, right, and what they look like. Now let's come to a demo. So I have prepared a demo. We will get into code as well. It's a very small demo of, so this is a React app, again, a normal React app that I've made, which does nothing. Anything that I add here, it just creates that, it just puts that in the URL that I've shown before, right? So now, let's say, again, we are coming back to our example where there were so many consistent products on Nykaa, right? How were they done? So these are our source images, right? Now, you can't expect a designer to give you the exact consistent images, right? All the time. So the first row is our source image, right? Let's say the first step, I want to remove a background from all of them, all 4 of them. Oh, sorry. If you see, this is the output, that's the input, this is the output of that one transformation that I've run, right? It has removed the background from all of them. Now imagine if I were to do this with thousands and tens of thousands of images at once, I can still do that, right? Now what is the other issue? For making it consistent, what is the other issue? Size, right? All are different sizes. Some is landscape, some are portrait. We don't know what's going on, right? So let's first fix a background. So because we have removed the background, let's just fix a background for all of them. Let's fix it to, let's say, I want like a gray background, right? All of them became gray, right? Now we have achieved one level of consistency, right? Everything is gray background. Now somebody said size, right? Let's say I want to, okay, so before size, we have one more problem. Can anyone tell me what that problem is? Orientation? No, I think all are straight, right? All are vertical. Yeah. So, does anyone know what trim does in JavaScript? String.trim. What does it do? Remove spaces from front and back, right? So, in images also, there is something called trim which we have developed, right? So, t_true is the value for trim. So, if you see, there are a lot of spaces. This has space here, this has space here, that has space on all the sides. So, we can't make it consistent yet. So, all I'm going to do is just put t_true in the URL and do an apply. it is just behaving like JavaScript, right? And it is actually written in JavaScript, by the way. So we have removed all the spaces, everything from the side. Now we have to make the size consistent, right? So this is the language. So I'm just putting it out here because I need to save time. So now all of these images, we started from that, we have made everything consistent, ready to be uploaded to Nika, right? Just by changing the URL. So if you see, if I open this image, this is the image, and we started, if I remove this query parameter, we get the original image back. So nothing is being stored, everything is happening in the browser in real time for you, right? So we've seen the first part where we are trying to make the images consistent, right? I can show you this with another example as well. So right now, okay, so now the good part is we have developed this string, right? We have developed this query parameter. We don't need to change it. It just works on all the images. Let's say there were shoes, again, very dismantled, very inconsistent. Same string on all of these will give you this output, right? Let's say I want to change the background to something else, not gray, but let's say black or blue for all of them. It will take a little bit of time to process. Oh, I think I have to change it here as well. Right? All of them have become blue. Now, if I apply the same on skincare as well, on cosmetics, again, all of them became blue. Right? And these are all proper images that you can use in your app anytime now. Right? We want to see some more deep AI shit that we do. Yes. Right? And then we'll get into code, how we do it. Yeah.
The processing is happening in browser or the server of image?
No, it is happening in the server, but it is happening in real time. So when the browser request hits the server, it happens in real time, gives you the output, and we render it. So this is what the React app is doing, right? I'll show you.
So cropping and trimming it doesn't affect the quality or the pixelation?
Nothing.
And then if you save the buffer image right now, which is the process in the browser?
It's not buffer, it's a PNG.
No, it's a PNG right now, but if you remove the parameters, then it will go to the normal.
Yeah.
If you save it in this format, it would be the high-res from the server directly applied with the
Correct. Right? So, okay, now let's get into some AI things, right? The same URL parameters, how do we use AI with that, right? Let's say we have an input image of shoe. Let's say we want to put that shoe on a road, right? So I have this prompt already, just so that I don't have to type. Just do an apply, changes, right? Now I can show you the URL of this image as well. It is just this one query parameter. If I remove this, I get the original image. So even the AI things are happening in real time where you can just give any prompt. I will come to a point where I'll ask you to give me a prompt so that you can see it real. But I'm just going to show you a few examples that I have tried before coming on stage. So different setups, different examples. Do you see how crazy it has created these shadows as well, right? So now these are the things that you can do because now you have URL-based transformations. You don't need to typically use something like ChatGPT or, I mean, underlying, we also use a lot of these proprietary models, but it's just a more convenient way, right, of making sure that you are fast out in the market, right? Same thing with cars. I've given some prompts. So I want to put this car on a road. I don't have to invest in photo shoot. I have the car Photoshop ready. I just have to put it on road and put it on my website, right? Now with AI, this is possible. The same car in a sunset background, right? Let's say another example. So this is, I think, a lot of people have started using Nano Banana for this, right? They want to like make their photos look good, upload it on LinkedIn, right? Again, something that you can just do with your prompt. So if anyone wants, if one of you has an idea, you want to make a website today that gets a LinkedIn profile picture from the LinkedIn API, changes it to something, optimizes it, charge for it, you can just do that. And by the way, these things are free, by the way. So ImageKit as a platform starts from the free plan. Yeah.
Are these images generated on the fly? Like how are these so instantaneous?
Yeah, they are generated on the fly. So it takes time. So these the ROMs that I've already given, they are cached already. So that's why it's just, for the demo purposes, we will come to it after the code so that you can see how much time it takes. It usually takes like 15-16 seconds for AI things to happen. The colors and all, they were instant, like I just showed, right? So changing background, gradients, that is all instant, right? A few more things that you can do. Let's say you have this image, right? Now, let's say you were to put it on your Instagram story, which is portrait. Now with AI, you can actually imagine things that were above and below that image, right? So for that, let's say I have a sample. So this language is something which is in the documentation, but I'm just copy pasting because it's faster, right? So again, this is something which is cached. It took like 15-16 seconds initially to get processed, right? But what it does is it typically imagined what was below the car and what was above the car to make sure that I wanted it to be in 400 by 600, width is 400, height is 600, that aspect ratio, and it just created that thing for me, right? Same thing, let's say bag. Again, I want to put this bag on Instagram story, but it'll just get cropped because right now it's a square image. I just put the same string, it imagine things below and above it, gives me the image. Now let's say I want to put it on YouTube as a cover poster. And I want this in a different size. I want this in 1200 by 600, right? So basically, now I want to expand it this way, right? Okay, now this is not cached, so you will actually see how much time it takes. Oh, maybe I think this is my React app is hung. This is actually running on localhost. Oh yeah, it happened. So if you see, this is the image now, right? And if I remove this, the original image was this. So it imagined the things on the left, put the car on the right, right? Now let's say I want to imagine even more. I want to make it like not 1200, I want to make it 2000. Yeah, because I have actually put this FO right. So FO means focus. So I want to put the car in focus on the right side. I can put it on left. Again, it will generate that image using AI. Put the car on left, right? So these are the things that you can typically do. So this was where you expand images for different platforms using AI. Now let's say we want to come to a point where we want to start from nothing, start from scratch. Again, something like Nano Banana, right? We want to give a prompt and let AI create the image from scratch, right? So this is the prompt that I've given, and it created this image, right? Similarly, I can actually show you some other prompts as well. A blue backpack with some orange handles, and we have that image, right? Now I will show you these in demo if we have time later. I don't want to get into that. But okay, so now let's say we were to create something like Swiggy, right? Something very similar to the banners that Swiggy has or Zepto has, right? All of that. So again, something very similar to a URL change. Create this once, apply it on all the products that you have, right? Let's say I don't want this to be mega sale. Can anybody give me some other word?
Flash sale.
Flash sale. Flash sale, 90% off? Oh, 100% off. Let's do 100% off. So this is done, it's applied. Flash sale, 100% off. Anyone else who would want to try something else? Just to see how speed it is, how fast it is?
Can we add on models?
Sorry?
Background also?
Yeah, we can change the background also. Or should I just show you the background later? We have just 5 minutes, I have to cover some code bit as well, right? Alright, just some things that I've done before coming here, just to show you what are the things that people do with URL-based transformations, right? Look at these kind of banners. So these are all created on the fly using some logic in these apps, and they just look beautiful, right? So consistent, so beautiful, right? All right, so now coming back to our slides, which I wanted to cover. So we have seen how lifestyle shots happen with product placements. We've seen how expansion happens using AI. We've seen how new images are created just by same thing, right? Just like Nano Banana, but in the URL, right? We've seen how different creatives can be done at this scale. So right now I've just shown you an example with 5, but you can actually scale it to like 1 million, which is exactly what Swiggy is using. So Swiggy, Zepto, Nykaa, all of these are customers. That's how they do it, right? Okay, now we are going dark. Why are we going dark? Because we are going to code, right? Code is dark mode. Who likes light mode here? Oh my god. Alright, since it's a majority, we are still going dark, right? How do we load images using Next.js? Anyone? Image component? Yeah, we just. Now, how do we get the URLs for these images? Somewhere in our DB, somewhere in the mapping. So we upload this on S3, right? Get the S3 URL, store it in our DB, make an API call from frontend, get the things, use image component, display it, right? Simple. Image component, display, right? Now, if you were to put something like a CDN, like CloudFront or Akamai, you would simply replace the URL, S3 URL, with CloudFront URL, the base URL, and the rest of the path remains same. That's how CDNs work, right? Now, again, coming to optimizations, these images are going to be raw, right? Because you've just created one single image, no variations, no resolutions, no optimizations. They will be PNG, they will be large. So I've seen, so these are the input images that were loaded from CloudFront. This is a real screenshot. So if you see the domain is CloudFront, right? And they are in the size of 3.6 MB, 3.9 MB, takes about 1 second for each of them to load. Even in parallel, my page has to wait for like 3 seconds for 10 images to load, right? So now how do we load images using ImageKit? Nothing, just a URL change. So just your, okay, I'll come to this later. Same product mapping, same database, same CloudFront, same Akamai, same setup. Just change your base URL from CloudFront to ImageKit once you've registered, and that's it. Now, what do you do with the image component? So just instead of importing image component from Next.js, import it from our SDK. And it's so basically our SDK is like a wrapper for the Next.js ImageKit, Next.js image components. Exact same props, no difference, just works as it is, right? But it gives you some additional things, right? It gives you this additional prop called transformation. Now that prop is basically what turns this transformation into a URL, right? So everything that we just did, you can actually do it in your React apps using just this. You don't have to remember the language, just like I did. Width, this, height, this, nothing. Height, width, DPR. What is DPR? Density, density pixel ratio. Yeah, so density pixel ratio is basically for high resolution images. For example, anyone who uses Retina displays on Mac, they have a very high DPR. But let's say a laptop like Dell, I'm not undermining it, but it has a low DPR, right? So that's why it shows things very blurred, and Mac displays are clearer, right? So that's what is the DPR. So it's basically how many pixels are there on one physical inch of your screen, right? So that's how your image clarity gets affected, right? Now once you do this, domain has changed, so now it's serving not from CloudFront but from ImageKit. See the size reduction on the same image. It's from 3.6 MB, it's now 49 KB, even 3 KB. Takes less than 66 ms. This is even faster than Redis, I think. Right? Do you see format change that happened automatically just by changing these things? So our PNG images became AVIF because I was using Chrome browser and Chrome supports AVIF. Right?
Why is there no consistency? I believe one of them is WebP.
Oh yeah, so this was a video file actually. This was a thumbnail for a video file. So the video file is a cover. So I was just trying it out. Now how do you put prompts in your props? Like the same SDK props. It's very simple. Just transformation prop, change BG prompt, change BG stands for change background. Just put your prompt, say what height, width you want in output, and that's it. ImageKit will generate it in real time. You will have it on the app, right? Yeah, so the first time it takes 15-16 seconds maybe, and after that, no matter you get 300 requests per second on that image, it will be served from cache. Yeah, same prompt. If you change the prompt, again the first request generates on the fly and then it serves from the cache. So some things that I've done, tried, plain simple images to lifestyle images, right? Putting the bag on a wooden table just by changing these props. Okay, now how do you expand? So the one that we showed, right? Portrait expansion, landscape expansion. Just put BG Genfill. So BG stands for background. If you put a hex code, it just gives you a solid background. If you put gradient, it gives you a gradient background. Put Genfill, it uses generative AI to fill the background, right? So it's very simple again. I don't need to dive into code as much. I think I can skip this. Just a summary of what we discussed. But if you want to see the code that we used, just a quick look at how it was working. Some very basic constants. So these are the relative parts of the images that I had already stored on my S3, right? Some category things. So I'm not using a DB because it's just a demo. But typically these values would come from DB, right? Some prompts that I had pre-written, like you saw, just to save time for the demo. Prompts, URLs. So everything is just very simple. Now let me show you the image component that is rendering this and how transformations are getting applied. So lifestyle images. So very simple. Just like you would import an image component. Can everyone see this? So just like you would typically do this from next/image, now you just do it from @ImageKit/next. And when you're using this, again, just as you were used to doing normal image rendering, it's the same prop source, same class name, same alt, same width, height, responsive false, all of that is similar, just it's delivering from ImageKit, right? Now how do you put transformations? So transformations, again, I've just done those apply button and on click, change transformations, all these functions, but typically they are just doing the same thing, it's just adding the prop in the right place, right? So I think that's all I had in the amount of time that I had for you guys. There was a lot of demo, there was some bit of the code as well. In case you would want to take a look at the code base, it's public, you can actually try it out. You just scan this QR code, it takes you to a GitHub repo, and you can download that. That's where you can find me, that's my LinkedIn QR code. And thank you for listening to me. I hope there is something that you can take from here and apply it in your projects. Again, ImageKit is free, you can try it out today. We've been working on it for quite some time. I've been here for 3 years now. Actually, I'm completing 3 years very soon. So, yeah.
Actually, wanted to ask, can we actually change the camera overview of the images?
If you can give a prompt, that way you can. So there's no foundation on what you can do with AI. We just give you the infrastructure for it. You can put any prompt and you can create images. Yeah.
So since it is generating the prompt, so now you can specify the URL. Is there any part of the security as well? Because now when you are modifying the URL, it's open playground for
Correct. So, correct. So I have the docs open for this particular reason because I knew this question is going to come. There is something called signed URLs. So now signed URLs, I'm sure S3 has signed URLs. So if anyone who's used S3, there's a concept that if you create a URL, it basically gets hashed with a salt and only you can edit it. No one else can, right? So the same concept, once you generate a URL, it's logged for your customers. even if they intercept your network calls, they can't make changes and make make usage increase on your account. It's going to be locked.
We can choose the model.
Yes, you can choose the model. But most of these models, so like a lot of, let's say for remove background, we have an in-house model, which works way better than all the other models. Similarly, there are a few other models that we have developed in-house. For the ones that we are using proprietary, you can.
Great, I think let's have a huge round of applause for him. Great talk, and do catch up with him. He's going to be around. So during the lunch and networking session, ask all your questions. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for coming. So Pratik, I think I'm feeling tired now. Like 3 talks, lot of information to consume. I think I need a break. You guys?
Yeah.
Right? We should have a break, like before the panel discussion. So let's take 5 to 10 minutes break. What say, Pratik?
Yeah.
5-10 minutes?
I think 5 minutes, not 10. We are
Okay,
running a
5
little behind,
minutes.
So yeah.